Alright, we're doing more kanji. It's the final stage of N3. After this, we tread into even more dangerous waters. But we tread there together, and with an optimistic spirit, full of the love of manga and the desire to read it in the original someday. Not that, of course, kanji can get you there alone. You need to do kanji, and then vocabulary, and then grammar, and then probably more kanji, and then more vocabulary, and then way more vocabulary, and then even more grammar, and then a whole bunch more grammar, and then a bunch more kanji, and then even more vocabulary. But we'll get there. We'll get there. And this one is called, I think, section or lesson. That also means chapter. So on the right, we have a fruit. And if you think of a fruit as kind of like an individual, sectioned out nice thing, then kind of each chapter is like a new fruit from the tree of the series. And we know that it's something to do with speech and story and things like that because of the kanji or the radical on the left. Good. This is a nose. So if on the top we have like yourself, on the bottom we have like I guess our legs or something. Then this rice field you can think of as kind of right underneath the brain, which is like the seat of knowledge. It's the nose, maybe? But it's nose at any rate. Hanaiki. I'm so excited that I'm breathing through my nose. I love kanji. Anyways, I really do love kanji. Like, it's a pain in the butt to learn, and I sure have suffered trying to drill them into my brain. But I think it's actually like so cool. So this is bridge. On the left we have a tree, meaning that we're probably making something out of wood. On the right we have, in my mind, these are kind of like stepping stones, and you can see like this is maybe one shore and this is like another shore, and we're bridging those shores. Something like that. That's how I've kind of always seen it, that on the right it's like, oh yeah, that kind of looks like a bridge. But if you'd prefer, you can probably break it down into radicals some more. I just found out from my friend, actually here, we're getting on a few tangents in today's kanji study episode, but I hope you don't mind, anyone who's watching this. So my friend just showed me this. I haven't updated my app yet, so I haven't seen it. But the kanji app that I use, which is called Kanji Study, and I highly recommend it, just added a new feature where when you're looking at an individual kanji, it will break it down for you into the radicals, which is good because you can see here that on the left, this radical actually transforms quite a bit from its normal form, which is like to eat, into this one. And it'll do it stage by stage too. Like you can see here that this is kind of a radical into itself. It's a kanji on its own, but it's actually these two things. And you can see just how far it breaks down. So I'm really looking forward to playing with this some more. I think there's probably quite a few kanji where I have like a very makeshift and almost like lucky understanding of it that isn't actually at all based on the actual radicals it contains, which is like okay. But if there ever comes a time where that like lucky association slips out of my brain and I have to kind of like reassess what it is, I would have no hope. Whereas if I have robust methodology to remember what they all mean, actually based on the radicals they contain, then I can be a lot more confident that I'll remember them like in perpetuity. So yeah, I think this can be really helpful. So again, I really highly recommend this app. I think it's like 20 bucks. But it's really worth it when you think about the number of hours that you'll put into kanji study if you're going to take it seriously. Like I'm easily over 100 hours or so. I actually have no real good way of estimating. It does tell you on the app your total time, but you know that's just the app, and I've had my phone wiped a few times, and I've used other things like this website. But I've easily put at least 100 hours into kanji study. Just the app itself, and for that paying 20 bucks is like whatever. Okay, moving on. This is beside, I'm pretty sure. You also think of this as like sideways, like face and profile. you know, like turned sideways. I guess it also was beside, sure. So, you have a tree, you have this kind of rice field thing going on. At the top, I kind of think of this as like togetherness, the association between two things specifically that kind of come together. So there's like a field and it's next to a tree. This indicating the next two, they're beside each other, they're sideways from one another. I don't know, something like this. This is a box. We have like a tree and an eye, and bamboo kind of stitching these things together perhaps. This is like, if you think of like an old style box, wooden sides and a top made of split bamboo perhaps, so that it's easier to lift. Maybe, I don't know, it's a box, that's for sure. And a box boat is an ark, apparently. It's quite nice to know. And a book box is a bookcase. This is, well, I know this is like chirp. Oh, so songbird, there we go. This is really simple. On the right we have a bird, on the left we have a mouth. So it's a songbird. I saw this kanji a lot a few years ago when it was used in the title of one of my favorite albums of that year by Vampilla and Jun Togawa. Watashi ga hotogisu de nakui. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically like I will cry like the mockingbird, and the cry is this cry. All right, so here we have two bamboo over a roof, over what I've referred to in the past as like an officer or whatever, but here you can see perhaps more ideogrammatically as like two mouths attached to some sort of stick. So this is a pipe. And I think of it based on what I've described there. It's clear to me that it's like a flute, like a bamboo flute or something, a shakuhachi. But here you can see from the compounds that it's used for any sort of pipe, and then some sort of like metaphorical pipes as well. And then the other stuff like this, I don't even know. Okay. This is, I'm pretty sure, approve or appraise. Approve or praise. Or it might be achievement. Oh boy. No, it's achievement. Yeah, okay. Yeah, alright. Well, we'll get back to that. This is wheel or ring. On the left we have a vehicle. On the right we have a roof over, let's just say, an engine or something. I don't know. It's like the treads of a tire, perhaps. Whatever helps you out. But yeah, this is used for a lot of rings, wheels, whatever. This is a tone or research. So on the left we have speaking again. On the right we have kind of in this encased ground over mouth, which we've referred to in the past as like a circumference. So kind of the whole roundabout aspect of what you're saying is kind of the tone of what you're saying, you could think. But then if you're also thinking about the research meaning, then you'll have to come up with another way to remember that. I usually just think of this one as tone. But yeah, it's interesting. This is, oh my gosh, certain, I think, or maybe view. I'm tempted to say view because of course it has the site radical on the right. But I know that certain also looks something quite like this. Let's guess certain. Ah, yeah. It's view. All right. Well, we're getting a few wrong, but that was gonna happen eventually. We just gotta plunge forward. This is territory, I'm pretty sure. Okay, good. So on the left, this on the bottom I think of as like private or public. Those two things seem like antonyms, but I just kind of think of it as referring to that spectrum. And then there's kind of like a roof over it. And this I think of as like a tool. So it's like a tool for marking out where the boundaries are, laying down your territory, perhaps. It's also used for like jurisdiction and such, which is the one that I'm used to seeing. This is certain. So it's like a rock, and then we have like a bird here. This is bird. And then this is like protect, I think of, or like kind of like a sacred protection. So we're certain that the bird is not going to get hit by the rock because this is in the way. Maybe. It's worth a shot. This is employment? Or manufacturing? Maybe it's manufacturing. I think it's manufacturing. Damn it! It's history! Oh my god. Oh, okay, alright, well, we'll talk about it when we get it right. This is fishing. Gosh, I sure hope it's fishing. On the left there's water. On the right, this is a fish. I think of this one totally ideogrammatically. You just rotate it on its side, you can maybe see a little fishy. There's its bifurcated fins, and here's its little fishy mouth, and this is the body of it. Yeeks. This is suitable. So we have like a road. We have the circumference of something kind of standing up. Well, it's not quite the circumference of something, but it's close enough. And it's not quite standing up, but it's close enough. And you're just looking for a suitable meaning because these things are not quite what they are, but they're close enough. They're suitable. This is a prize. So on the bottom we have money. On the top we have people cheering under kind of a fancy roof because they've won a prize. This is performance. I've never really come up with a good way to remember that this is performance because none of the radicals really make sense to me. Like, why is there water for performance? I guess you can think of your performance as something like very fluid and flowing or something like that. And then over here, I don't even know really how to describe what's going on. Yeah. This is boundary or border. So we've got some land, and then we've got something upright, like a boundary or a wall or a border. And it's being looked after. It's being watched and maintained to make sure nobody breaks through. So all of that together, yeah, that's a border. This is discuss or talk. So we have our speaking thing on the left and then two fires on the right. So you can think of it as like a really fiery conversation or discussion. Yeah, it shows up quite a lot. This is not hanashi, which is used even more often for kind of like a conversation or talking about a certain topic. This is like, I think, more if you're less interested in the subjects being discussed and more interested in the quality of the discussion itself, like what aspects that discussion had, then you would use this, perhaps. This is knowledge, I think. It could be practice train. Oh my god, I think it's knowledge. All right. Yeah, so we have speaking, we have a sun standing up, we have this thing going on here. So when you're talking to someone and it feels like the sun has risen over their head, like a light bulb has gone off, that's because they've acquired some knowledge. Good. This is copper. On the left we have a metal radical. This will show up in most things relating to metals. On the right we've got same. So if you think like a metal that is made just the same over and over again, maybe that's like a copper coin. There it is right there, copper coin. This is, oh god, mode, formal title, I think. I don't think it's green. No, green has like thread, something else. It's not compile knit. It's choose. I think it's none of these. Yeah, okay. Ah, Sama! Right, right. Of course, of course. Sorry, I totally blanked here. Yeah, this is Sama. This is typically just written out in hiragana, I believe. But under very formal occasions, you'll see this at the end of someone's name to designate them as like a really honorable person. I never really thought of it as mode and formal title. I don't know. I just didn't add it up. But yeah, this is Sama. This is a good one to know. I saw it recently. Someone signed my name and wrote Sama at the end. It was cool. This is debate or discuss. Yeah, man. So on the left we have speaking again. On the right at the top, this is like king or whatever. So you can think of it as maybe we're determining who gets to be king. We're determining who is correct. We're debating, we're discussing, things like that. You can see it shows up in a lot of titles. Because that's kind of their role, is debating and discussing and stuff like that. This is quiet. On the left, we have something that looks a lot like blue. Pretty sure it's just exactly blue. On the right, we have like defeat. So if you think you're defeated, you're feeling blue, you're maybe even underwater, all of these things are going to make you quiet. They're just going to settle you down. This is manufacture, right? Right, okay. I got a little mixed up before. So on the bottom, I see this one a lot with kind of like manufacturing goods, the process of making something. On the top left, we have like a system. And on the right, we have that sword that I've also described as like the systematically cutting sword. So all of this is adding up to kind of like mechanized production, the process of making things very efficiently and systematically. This is a record. Yeah. The other one is mirror. Yeah, this one is record. So on the left we have metal. On the right we have, this to me kind of feels like returning, because I think something similar shows up in Return Home, and this I think of as like a wish, like a request, things like that. So it's like this metal allows you to return to what you desired in the past, because it's like a record. It's recording those performances or whatever. Sure. This is image or figure. So I said before that this guy on the right here, which is elephant, can also refer to like statues and such. And then if it's like a human elephant, then we're definitely talking about like a specific, like a statue or something like that. If you have a concept in your mind that is also an elephant, then that is your imagination. You can't possibly imagine an elephant. This is compile or knit. So on the left we have a thread. On the right, I think of this as like a house over top of someone who is stitching those threads together and making this kind of like woven thing. Sure? Sure. This is... Oh, man. Compete? I think it's compete. No. Oh, yeah, that's compete. Of course. This is build or construct. Oh, right. Before we did manufacture. Yeah, so that was still on the table. Oh, man. I hate when I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to, like, reason with it on meta levels. Like, oh, I already knew that we had done this one, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that's rough. All right. So that's build or construct. We'll come back to it. This is refine or essence. So, again, on the right, we have blue. On the left, we have something that has like granularity, because it's like rice and it shows up in like flour and I think sugar and some other kind of granule things. So if you kind of think of the blue is like filtering it and purifying it, and then the granularity, you're pulling out the specific things that make it the very refined, final, granular chunks of its essence, or something like that. This is a line. On the left we have a thread, on the right we have like a fountain. So if you think of a thread that's like it just shoots out straight, it's making a line. Sure. This is a fountain, by the way, on the right. I don't know if that's come up before. On the bottom is like water, on the top is white. So if you think of whiteness coming out of water, it's because it's like a bubbling fountain. I guess. that's good enough, right? This is cotton. So on the left we have a thread again, on the right at the top we have white, and on the bottom we have like a market. So it's like white thread that you bring to the market. That's cotton. And this is minute, detailed, or careful, because when you want someone to be careful, you say, now wait just a cotton picking moment. And I never understood why people say that. I have no idea what the etymology of that phrase is. But it's definitely not what's being referenced here. This is green. So on the left we have a thread, on the right we have like return, wish, a thread that if you follow it will return you back to your wish. That's a green thread. Is it? I don't know. I'm telling you it is. All right, so here we have choose. So we're like kind of going down the road. We have these two things that are together. We have to pick one of them. They look pretty much the same. Which one are we going to choose? Well, that's what truly makes it a choice. If there was an obvious answer, then you wouldn't really need to choose. This is also used for elections and stuff, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there we go, election. This is guide. So on the top we have like road, pretty straightforward. This is like neck and a journey, so it's like the long road you're taking. On the bottom we have protect, so someone who protects you along that journey is your guide. It's a guide dog for the blind. Aww. Oh wow, to say blind is like forgot sight. Dang, I didn't know that one. But I could work it out just from the radicals. That's the power of good radical usage. Oh boy. All right, let's use the power of radical usage to work this one out. I'm pretty sure it's a mount or forehead. Yeah, on the right we have like the tool. On the left we have, I think of this as like guest under a roof. So the amount that the guest spends is a tool to figure out that your earnings or whatever, but it's not earnings, it's amounts. This I think is achievement, because we're like measuring this kind of the movement of blue. Oh dang, no, that's with thread. This is accumulate. Oh, man. Oh man. I'm off my game today. I'm not sure why. Oh boy. This is increase. Yeah, this is increase. I know that for sure. So we have ground on the left, the rice field sprouting out as the sun beams down to it. We're increasing our rice. Why not? This is machine or occasion. On the left we have a tree. On the right we have like two threads being kind of worked into this manufacturing process. So this is also used specifically for a loom, but it's just sort of like a general machine, because I guess a loom is like a very early machine. So it became this sort of general use case. This is, I thought this was like sort. So what's kind of like sort? Kind? Okay. Yeah. It's sort of like categorizing things, I guess. So we have like the granularity at the top. We have a dog at the bottom, which I guess kind of relates to it, referring to kind of species type breakdowns and other taxonomy. And then on the right we have our tool, so it's like a tool for using such a thing. So that's like the kind, that's like that particular breakdown. This is a container or a tool, even though I keep referring to that other radical as a tool. This can also be a tool. So here we have a dog, and the dog is surrounded by 4 mouths. And it's like, dog wants to get out, but these 4 people are like, stay in, don't run away. They're containing him. Why not? It's used for like utensils and stuff. See, this is why I call that radical a tool, is because of this thing here, this kanji by itself. But whatever. This is compete. So we have like 2 older brothers. They're standing up. They're staring each other down. They're competing. Who will win? Sure. This is transport. On the left again we have a vehicle. On the right we have a body being systematically cut to pieces. No, wait. Well, on the right we have it's a moon, and we're marking the passage of that moon by kind of taking things in the car and sheltering them, and for many moons we will transport it over a long distance. We're exporting things, we're importing things. Nice. These are very self-explanatory. Transport, exit, export, transport, enter, import. Done. This is like total or general. So we have like a thread. This is again our kind of part, private, public distinction type of thing. And then we have our heart. So kind of like a thread that stretches around the entirety of our lives, both the private and the public part, weaving through everything. That's the totality of ourselves. Something like that. Yeah, okay. This is hot. On the bottom we have fire, then we have some ground, and we have like a circle, so you can think of it as maybe like a campfire. And if you think back, way back to ancient days, what could be hotter than a campfire? So that's hella hot. Atsui, atsui. This is, I thought, trust. I thought something like that. Maybe, yeah, I guess it's this. Yeah. Never mind, it's not trust. This is like the negai and onegai shimasu and stuff like that. Making a formal request, a petition, something like that. So on the left, we have what I associate with like capital. On the right, we have like a tool. Again, I keep saying it's a tool. Maybe it's better not to think of it as a tool. Okay, so let's say we have a tool that we take to the capital because we're requesting something from the emperor. That tool is our request itself. The tool is the ability to say onegai shimasu and to sincerely ask for their help. This is accustomed. So on the left, I learned recently, you're always learning stuff about radicals. It feels like that's like the first thing you should know, and then you should know it for sure. But apparently this is a heart. That if you kind of think of how the heart looks, that it's that kind of sweeping line with the 2 dots. Here that line has just been smushed up to the side, and the 2 dots are split on either side of it. So that's heart. And then we have kind of this feeling of crossing a rice field. There's lots of shellfish, and you're like, that's weird. And then, but they're like, oh no, I've become accustomed to it. Something like that. Okay, what's going on here? This is duplicate or double? No. I don't think it's accumulate. I think it's any of these other ones. Maybe it is duplicate or double. Okay, there's something else that I thought was duplicate. I thought, but maybe not. So on the left, this is like shrine, something sacred. It looks kind of like the other kanji, or the other radical that I refer to as protection or sacred. It's just sort of rearranged a little. But I suppose all of these things are just lines and dots and stuff. So if you say, oh, it's the same, but it's just rearranged, that goes for like every single kanji. So, and on the right, it's a lot going on here. a sun interchange thing. We're doing some sort of sacred ritual to get another sun because it's just not hot enough. Something like that. This is a lecture. So on the left we have speaking. On the right we have like more together than even together. And on the bottom, this again kind of looking thing. So something that everyone is brought together to hear, that they're going to hear again and again. They're being lectured. I like this, that the first thing is lecture canceled. Rest lecture. That's something that I guess if you're going to university in Japanese, you would really want to know how to read. This is employment, I think. Yeah, okay. So on the left we have an ear. On the right we have music, but music is being cut off by this thing. You know what? One of the worst parts of having a job is you can't necessarily listen to music as much as you'd like. That there are situations where all you want to do is just listen to your favorite album and escape from your circumstances a little bit, but you can't. Such as employment. This one is approve or praise. So we have these two kind of like double trees at the top and some money at the bottom. And it's like, what? You want two double trees? Sure, I approve of that. You've been such a good worker. We're stretching, folks. We're really stretching. Oh boy. This is, well, I think it's practice or train. But I thought that looked different. I thought that had like a rice field looking thing here instead of this thing. So that it was like east. It was like a thread out east, I thought. It's like practicing, but maybe I misread it all this time. Well, it's a thread to this place. How do you get to this place? Practice, 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 and follow that thread. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right, so now we're back to ones that we saw before, right? Or no, this is achievement. So it's like the thread, the blue thread. The green thread took you back home so that you could remember that the kanji meant green. And here the blue thread is what leads you to achievement so that you remember that the kanji means achievement. Oh, lordy, lordy. Well, it's a blue thread. That's how I'm thinking of it. Even though it's not, because the bottom is shellfish and not moon. Oh my god. Oh god. It's not even a blue thread. If it's not a blue thread, then what do we have left? Just the strange king. All right, here it is, here it is. It's a shellfish, but at the top it's king. How did the shellfish become a king? Well, it followed this one weird thread. Other clams hate him. Find out how he achieved so much. This is view. So let's say we got, a bird that's being protected. What can it see? Well, it has a very nice view. It's sheltered in the branches of the tree. Safe in the hands of love, or something like that. What was this again? Build or construct? Yeah, so at the top we have bamboo. That's a good building material. Then we have like a craft here. This I think of as commonplace. And then like a tree. So we have like a bunch of kind of common ingredients, which is why you think of this one, I think, more as like the actual physical act of putting stuff together instead of the more like manufacture referring to like the manufacturing process, or like this on the other hand side here being more about like the complete project itself, I think. This is the actual physical putting together, or at least that would be nice. This is history. So it's like we got these two trees that have been growing. We want to look back into the past to see when they were just saplings. We want to look into their history. And there's only one correct methodology for doing that. Because this bottom thing is kind of looks like correct. So this is history. Sure. And then this was accumulate. Yeah. So we have money. There's that king shellfish again. How much is he worth? How much has he accumulated? We'll use the calculating tree to find out. What great radicals do we have? Calculating tree, systematic sword. All right, let's run through these quick again. Make sure we remember them all. Accustomed, container, machine, boundary, argument or lecture, compare. Oh boy. Compete. No, that is fine. Yeah, it's not compare. It's compete. Knowledge, knows, employment, green, beside? Yeah, okay. Practice, heat, approve, achievement, fishing, transport, choose, wheel, box, bridge, certain, history, accumulate, build, overall, statue, copper, essence, record, amount, oh, why did I just, yeah, the tree of wishes, tree of, what did I say this was? Mode or form of, Sam, oh, right, yeah, someone, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. Territory, guide, manufacturer. The line, where's the line? I thought this was line. No, it's not, it's cotton. Oh my gosh. This is compiler init. This is pipe. This is approve, no. Duplicator double. Kind, quiet, increase, chirp, prize, chapter, section, suitable, performance, tone, discussion, debate, view. This one is line. Request. Hey, all right, okay. And from here, it only gets harder. That was the first one where I really felt a bit of struggle and a bit of shame. But I knew that eventually we would have that day where there's just a few that's like, oh, geez, maybe it's this. And I'm sure it's only going to get rougher and rougher from here. We're actually going to hit a very significant level up for the next video, so look forward to that, or dread that, or feel secondhand embarrassment for that. But we'll get through these. We'll get through these. We sure will. All right, that's all for now.